515-2567.
Hey, everybody. Michael Rosso here, Film Photography Podcast, here with John Fideli.
Hey, everybody.
And soon to be joined by Mr. Mark O'Brien, MFO, known as MFO in these parts.
MF, what's the F for?
Mark Frank O'Brien.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
He'll be here soon.
All right. I'm just making sure.
Let's see what he is on the Instagram.
He's MFO Photos.
There you go. Yep. MFO Photos on Instagram.
He's an avid poster.
A week or so ago, he posted that his new issue of Monochrome Mania.
What's this one about?
It's all images shot with the Ansco Pix Panorama.
Pix. Pix. Pix.
Pix.
Pix.
Pix.
Pix.
Pix.
It's got to be.
So back in the day, there was this ancient video game, like a.
It was like what do you call it? Like
Pong.
Was it Pong?
Pong, yeah.
No.
Oh, you think it was you
It was
fire,
the shooting thing.
You shoot
like
at a spaceship.
Galaxila or something.
Galaxy.
What is that? Galaxila?
In a local channel 11, WPIX, Pix.
Pix.
The video game would come on a screen, and then some kid would call in, and then the operator on the other side would be like, "Okay, Billy, you ready?"
It's the new TV Pix. New games, new prizes, and more fun for you. When we call you to play TV Pix, you must know the TV Pix pal. If we pick your postcard or letter and call you at home, and you can correctly identify that day's TV Pix pal, you can play TV Pix.
And the kid would say Pix every time they want to fire a missile.
Tell them to say Pix when the big tech guy would have to push the button to fire the missile. But there was always guys that were trying to do it, technically and be like, Pix, Pix, Pix. And then there were the kids that were just like, Pix, 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 Pix. You can see the guy pushing the button like, oh, these little bastards.
So Mark's new issue of Monochrome Mania, which, we have the theme song here.
Mm-hmm. I'm a mono, that means one. I'm a chrome, and that means fun. I'm a monochrome maniac.
His new issue is all about the Ansco Pix panoramic camera. He's not going to be talking about that today. He's going to be talking about using a Kodak lens on a Leica camera, which is very interesting.
Huh?
And he's also going to be doing a review of the Zeiss-Ikon Symbolica. Sounds like the name of like a prog rock album. Zeiss-Ikon Symbolica.
Yeah.
So before Mark comes in, I'm going to just chit-chat really quick about a few different new things that you guys should know what's happening, what's going on.
Yeah, what's happening?
First and foremost, Film Ferrania P30 black and white 35mm film. It's been out of stock so long that people think it's a new film.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so people, I've never seen this film before. It's been out of circulation for well over a year.
And it's good film.
Yeah,
good stuff.
It's great film. It's made in Italy.
Italy. Italy.
It's based on their cinema film, which is, I don't want to say high contrast, but just heavy black. Like there's a lot of I'll say ink. There's a lot of silver in it. So it produces a very rich
black. The blacks are deep.
Yeah, the blacks are...
But the whites are pretty, they pop too.
It's a very unique black and white film, and there's no other black and white film available that looks like that. And it's back at the Film Photography Project store. Also, just so you folks know, brand new, and it's been selling like hotcakes. We have a new 120 film called FPP 120 X-ray film.
X-ray.
It's medical X-ray film cut and conformed to 120 with backing paper and the proper numbers.
Proper modulation.
But it produces, because it's X-ray film, and there's no anti-halation layer on it, it produces very dreamy...
So you get like diffuse looking...
Yes, get diffuse...
Things glow.
Yes, it's very glowy. And also it has a pronounced grain. I wouldn't call it a grainy film, but it has a pronounced, unique grain. So this is FPP black and white 120 X-ray film, and it's available at the FPP online store. FPP 120 X-ray film. It's fabulous.
That's it. FPP 120 X-ray film.
Yeah, if you go to the store...
Not like Mummy or Creature of the Black Lagoon, nothing.
FPP black and white X-ray film. Go to the store. You'll see examples. Our good friend Tariq Terry in Columbus, Ohio shot some images.
Is that Matt's friend?
Yes. Our good friend Greg Tamara. He's on Instagram.
You can tell me his name?
Greg Tamara.
I don't want to know tomorrow. I want to know today.
Oh, Greg, Tumara.
Tamara.
He's on Instagram. Check him out.
All right. I was trying to do the Abbott and Costello. Who's on first?
Right.
Okay.
And if you have any hankering for the 1980s, check my personal account on Instagram. It's called
Film Shooter Mike.
Film Shooter Mike. I dug up all the negatives from Bill on the Hill. That's William Patterson College, now called William Patterson University. And I've discovered some things that I never knew existed, like that you could just bring a 6-pack of beer into class and just drink.
It was the end of the year party. It wasn't like you just bring it to class any day.
There were pizzas, too.
Yes.
I'm going to put those pictures.
It was a
as well.
screening.
It was the end of the year filmmaking class where you bring your final project in.
Screen it.
Screen it.
Other students and family members.
I don't know if any of the students' films you'd bring. It would be like Super 8.
What film did you screen? Do you remember? Because I can't remember what I screened.
No. I saw the picture of Dave Macaluso. He had a Super 8 film and a huge boombox.
To try and sync up the soundtrack.
Which never sunk up.
No.
You try. What is my Instagram handle?
Film Shooter Mike.
Oh, thank you.
Boy.
Yeah.
Testing.
Right before we started recording this, John and I were outside with the new to me
K3.
Yeah. How do you say that word?
I can't pronounce it.
Pouch
Krupnik.
Kraskenox.
Now, we are now testing this out for
16 millimeter K3 camera. It's a wind-up camera. It's a cult camera. It's so popular.
Why?
Well, we're going to find out.
Did you find out why or no?
We're going to find out why.
Okay.
I loaded it. Nope. First time using it. I purchased it from Moldova in January.
Who's that?
Moldova. It's a Russian-controlled area.
Oh, it's a country.
Yeah,
you were
Moldova.
Person.
There's a guy on Instagram who set you up. He's not the guy I bought from. Oh, here he is. K3 Super 16 Max.
Oh, super.
Max Karpenko. You need to follow him.
I do. Why?
Oh, I'm not even following him.
Why do I need to follow him? Does he post
everything is the K3. Everything.
All about the K3.
All about the K3.
Guy's obsessed.
Well, I don't know if he's obsessed. He takes them in, refurbishes them, and just so you folks know, there's 16 millimeter film, and then the next step in 16 millimeter technology
One step beyond
was Super 16.
Hey, you! Don't watch that. Watch this.
And then overseas, it was also known as Ultra 16, which is a little bit different. So they would take the film gate and they would make it wide.
They would punch it out.
So that your frame fits beautifully into a 16:9 modern, 1920 by 1080 frame.
So he does that.
So this camera, he does.
And that's
Max.
a Super 16, the one you
This
got?
is Ultra 16.
Ooh.
Yeah.
This is the heavy monster sound.
I loaded this up with a roll of Yeti black and white reversal. It's orthochromatic. It's ISO 1. It's a reversal film.
1.
Yeah, we had a hard time getting our numbers outside because it's a little overcast today. But we shot a test roll.
It's going to be a little underexposed.
You folks in a week or so will be able to see that on the FPP Film Photography Project YouTube channel. If you have any interest, probably not.
A couple guys out there, girls.
Yeah.
Or two.
So this was a twofold test to test the camera and to test the film. Very excited about that. What else? Well, quick shout out.
Yeah.
To our good friends at the Darkroom, Phil, Keith, Trev. A week or so ago, Trev Lee, he's also an avid Instagram poster. Trev Lee.
Does he do his own thing or he does it all for the Darkroom?
There are two accounts. I mean, we're talking about Instagram now, so as we were. Trev Lee, he has his own account, TREVLEE, and he also has the Darkroom Lab.
Because he's their social media director?
Yes, he is. And he posted all about the Film Ferrania P30. He loves it.
Yeah, who doesn't?
So shout out to the folks at the Darkroom who supply us with recyclables in the form of outer cans, 35 millimeter cans, where you put your film in, and 35 millimeter canisters, which we use when we roll our in-house film, like this past fall, The Mummy.
The Mummy.
The Mummy 400 was
Clarice.
rolled using recycled cartridges. And thedarkroom.com, which is a full-service laboratory. These are not commercials, by the way, just so you guys know. These are called shout-outs.
Okay.
What is it called, John? quid pro quo.
Quid pro quo.
I guess so. That means you do something for me, I do something for you.
But this is very casual. I call this organics.
Okay, well, what are they doing? What are you doing for them? Oh, mentioning their business.
Oh, no. Well, I do mention their business. But also, this is from Leslie. So a few labs, more and more labs are like getting, kind of like sending us stuff. So this is the Express Photo shout out from Leslie. Express Photo on 6 Mile Road in Livonia, Michigan.
I thought it was 8 Mile.
They love what they do, and they've been doing it for 38 years.
It's a lot of years.
Family owned and operated. They love the current resurgence of film processing. In addition to film processing, they offer hardware. Like if you need a hammer.
Yeah.
Tape measure.
Leaf blower?
Photo restoration, and they can digitize just about anything.
Oh, can they digitize me?
Maybe.
Put me in the Matrix?
We love what we do, and we love our customers. They're a beautiful store. This is very nice. Leslie's really expressing her feelings about them.
Well,
their beautiful store offers C41 processing from 110 to 120, medium format, and they average, listen to this, John, they average 130 plus rolls a day.
wow.
What Leslie does is she gets in her buggy and drives down to Express Photo in Livonia, Michigan, and like picks up the recyclables.
Does she really?
Yeah.
She's in Ohio.
She's doing the rolling. Also, we received packages just this past week from Kirk at Garland Camera. Garland Cameras in Garland, Texas.
Right. We talked about them last
I'm not sure they sell hardware. You may have to go to a hardware store in Garland. I bet you there is one.
I'm sure there is.
But they do processing, and they also offer camera repair.
That's right.
We have not tried their camera repair, so I'm just letting you folks know and looking for you folks out there to give us feedback. And that's what's wonderful about the darkroom, not pulling anyone's leg. The feedback we get about the darkroom from our listeners and customers is overwhelming. And when I say overwhelming, I mean overwhelmingly good.
Yeah. Oh, they do a great job. There's
Yeah.
nothing to complain about.
So Kirk...
And they're nice, friendly people.
Yes. So Kirk at
Humans.
Garland Camera has been sending like smaller boxes. And I have to tell you, Kirk, they are so handy. Like a little box comes in the outer canisters, outer cans. They get used immediately.
Wow.
As soon as they come in, right into the production line. So thank you very much. Really, really, really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So that's the story right now. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Mark O'Brien.
Yeah.
And if folks want to send some feedback, podcast at filmphotographyproject.com.
Bing, bang, bing. Ricochet rabbit.
And stick around. We're going to have some more show. What show?
What show?
Phineas T. Prune was a multi-zillionaire with a pickle face. He didn't like Christmas, he didn't like Santa Claus, and most of all, he didn't like children.
Time to wake this show up.
Welcome back, Cotter. Brought to you by Kodak, whose new Insta cameras and dependable Kodak film help you remember the times of your life. Kodak.
Hey, we're back, and we're here with Mr. Mark O'Brien.
King of the lo-fi.
That's right. Today, yes, John. Today we're going to talk about putting a Kodak lens on your Leica or other LTM camera, an LTM Leica thread mount.
Yeah. Why would you do this?
The KEKS 30mm f10. So when you say Kodak lens, I thought of like some 1950s lens, but in fact, you're talking about a point-and-shoot lens.
Exactly.
So tell us about this.
Okay.
Tell us about this
I've been
madness.
looking online at various things that have been coming out recently, and I saw, the KEKS is a company in Taiwan, I believe, and they have a light meter that looks pretty nifty, and I thought of buying it, and I thought, it's kind of pricey too for what I was willing to pay. But I looked at their website, and they had this Leica thread, this little lens that was basically talk about a pancake lens.
No,
this is not even it's a
I thought
crepe.
that was
It's
the
not
lens.
a pancake.
I thought that was the cover. I
Well,
didn't know that was
it looks
an
like a
actual
lens cap.
Yeah.
And in fact, you're right. It is like a lens cap. Actually, more like a body cap because it screws in.
Body cap, yes.
So what KEKS did, they've taken these lenses out of Kodak single-use cameras, and which are a 30mm f10 lens, and they figured out a way to put them into a body cap that screws into my Leica thread mount camera. In this case, it's a Canon 7, but I also tried the lens out on my Zorky. Which is a Russian-made Leica thread mount camera. It looks a lot like a Leica 2. It was $30, and I figured,
why not?
I'll put out $30 for something as wild as that. So it came in the mail pretty quickly, international mail, and I stuck it on my camera, and I shot a roll of black and white film with it. And basically, you just use it like you would a point and shoot, because it's one aperture. There's no focusing. The focus is probably from like 9 feet to infinity.
So what do you set your aperture on, like 125?
It's f10. That's what it's set at.
Oh,
I mean, there's no control
what about
over
your shutter speed. I mean,
the shutter speed is the only thing you can change.
Oh.
So you can change your camera to change your shutter speed to reflect the light changes. And I just eyeballed it. I did Sunny 16, and went around and shot. The cool thing was all my images came out with that same kind of je ne sais quoi that disposable film cameras have.
Where can we see these images?
The images are on my random camera blog.
Oh, okay.
Okay. They are sharp in the center and diffuse along the edges. And I thought, it's just a fun lens. I mean, not only can you get them for Leica thread mount, I believe they had Leica M mount as well. Now, the problem with that is some people say you're putting a $30 plastic lens on your camera. Mm-hmm. And I say, why not? I mean, it's all for having a good time with trying things out. I have it on my Canon 7 right now, and it looks like I have no lens on it because it's so flat.
Is this a hot item? Because I know wherever I look, fancy people all over the country.
Fancy people.
I mean, people going nuts for Leica.
Right.
So is this a popular item?
I couldn't tell you that, but I do know that if you look on eBay especially, there's all kinds of lenses that people have adapted to fit on Leica cameras.
Okay.
Now, part of that is the popularity of mirrorless cameras, which can often take Leica thread mount lenses if you have an adapter. People have asked about, after I put the blog up, they said, does this fit my
adapter?
It may or may not work with an adapter. I don't know. But the other part of it is, because they're made for such a very specific film distance from the film to the lens, it won't work in an SLR, which would require which is a much farther distance. So it's going to work only on either mirrorless cameras or Leica thread mount cameras.
Because that was one of my questions. Does this company KTZ,
yeah,
do they make any other mounts of this type of?
Yeah, so I think they have mirrorless, and then you can use a Leica adapter for those cameras.
Okay.
I mean, it's a fun camera. I see people taking some of the Russian Lomo point and shoots that people, or not that, they're not point and shoots, they're other Lomo cameras that were made. And they have a nice little lens on them, but they have to put it in a helical made from another lens that was a piece of junk or something, and they sell those. So this, to me, was for $30. I go, try it out and see what happens. And it was fun because I just went out, snapped away, and then it's just composing. There's no focusing and all that. So
do you tend to pass things along or sell things off? Like, will you use that for a while?
Oh, I'll hang on to this.
You'll hang on to it?
Yeah, I'll hang on to it. Yeah, I think it's a fun thing.
And what are you going to use it for, you think? What would you say? Oh, I'm going to such and such a place. I'm going to get my
kicks.
My kicks out. I'm going to get my kicks.
I probably would shoot it to piss off people who thinks I should have a real proper lens on it.
So you're going to take it to the next photo walk.
Yeah, I will. They'll say, what the hell is that?
You'll get run out of town, dude.
But you would get much more shit
if it was on a Leica.
If it was on a Leica.
Of course, yeah. They would say, what are you defiling that Leica with? Well, I think it's one of those things where there's so many different things you can come up with.
That would fit on that Leica that you have.
I like that.
It's the 3, is it?
M2.
You have
M3.
M3.
Yeah. No, the M3. You would put this on an M3?
Yeah. I wouldn't.
Do you like shooting with that M3?
Yeah, but the IP.
Oh, you broke it.
It needs service. No, I didn't break it. It needs service. The eyepiece is fogged. It needs what do you call it? CLA.
TLA.
CLA. It needs tender love and care. Yes, and also to be CLA.
Would you send that camera to a CLA person?
Yeah, Leslie. I reached out to Leslie, and she told me a guy that I got to get in touch with, because I was going to send it to this guy, Kanto Camera in Japan.
Yes, hi.
Thousands of dollars.
Okay.
To put to clean it up, put new leather on it, and the shipping would have been like $1,800 or something.
I had new leather put on my M2 at Blue Moon for like $80.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to get in touch with this guy that Leslie put me in touch with.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Mark. And this Kodak lens on your Leica or other LTM camera, that's an actual blog?
Yep.
What's it called? What's the blog called?
Random Camera Blog.
But how do we find that blog?
Oh, you would just find that post?
Yeah, how would you find that post?
You could just search under KEKS, K-E-K-S.
Oh, K-E-K-S.
K-K-S, Kex.
And they what? Have a Etsy store?
No, they have a website.
Oh, what other kind of fun stuff do they sell?
They had a couple other things aside from that and the light meter. I don't remember what the other things were though, but they were little gadgets.
Okay. Well, very good. Thank you very much, Mark.
Hey, you're welcome.
Mr. Prune decided to make children unhappy by taking Christmas away from them. He went up to the North Pole and promised Santa $1 billion if he would stop giving Christmas presents to children. Naturally, Santa refused. So Mr. Prune took his $1 billion and bought the whole North Pole and became Santa's landlord. And he raised the rent so high, nobody could pay it, least of all Santa Claus. He told Santa to have the rent money by December 24th, Christmas Eve, or he would take all the presents away as payment.
That's right, yeah. Yeah.
Is this all that you have to remind you of the fun of last Christmas? Ornaments, gift paper, ribbons, and bows? Well, this year, with a Brownie movie camera, you can save the truly wonderful things of Christmas. The rapture on the face of a child seeing his first Christmas tree. The excitement of a boy getting the one thing he wished for most. All the love, happiness, and joy of Christmas. Yours to enjoy again and again in beautiful big screen movies. You'll get all the action and color with a Brownie movie camera. And now you can have both the camera and the new easy-to-use Brownie 8 projector in this complete outfit for $78.25 or as little as $8 down. This week, visit a store that displays this sign. Give a Brownie movie camera so your family can take movies and make this the best Christmas they'll ever remember.
John, do you have a song for the Zeiss-Ikon Symbolica 35?
Symbolica. Symbolica.
Zeiss-Ikon Symbolica.
This is a camera that I know nothing of. I never heard of it, although I have heard of Zeiss-Ikon, and I know if you put the two words Zeiss-Ikon on any of your eBay auctions, you just get a lot more money. Zeiss-Ikon Symbolica 35 millimeter.
It's like Abbott and Costello. Not so much for Abbott, not so much for Costello.
But put them together.
But together,
it's Abbott and Costello.
They're making some money.
Yeah, bet.
So Zeiss-Ikon, is that one company or a conglomeration or a grouping?
Well, it's one company. I don't know if I really want to go into the whole history of Zeiss-Ikon, but it was Zeiss. The Zeiss optics firm goes back a long, long way,
right,
back in the 1800s.
Sure. Who's Icon then?
And so Icon is another contraction of other names. Zeiss-Ikon, up until the World War II, was in Dresden, Germany. And we know what happened in Dresden, Germany.
Bad things.
Bad things.
Bad things, Joey. Bad things.
So after the aftermath of World War II, obviously Russia split up and the U.S. divided up Germany into East and West. And the Zeiss-Ikon AG cameramen and engineers fled the East and moved into Stuttgart, I believe, and some other areas in Germany. And the ones that remained in the East went to Jena, Jena.
Oh.
And also they...
Jena, yeah.
Yeah. So
there's lenses too.
So if you see Zeiss-Ikon Jena, that is the East German one.
Oh.
And then there was Zeiss-Ikon in the West.
I don't think I've ever seen the Jena.
Then became a trademark dispute. So you could only market Zeiss-Ikon in the Eastern Bloc countries, which meant you could not sell their stuff in the West because it said Zeiss-Ikon on them. So they became Pentacon.
Eine echte einäugige Spiegelreflexkamera von Pentacon.
Wow. Sam Sherman would be able to jump into this conversation.
I'm sure he would, yeah. The thing is that, so you see Pentacon on lots of things, and then pre-war, Zeiss-Ikon was in just Germany. And they invented the Tessar lens, which you hear about, the Zeiss Tessar. Well, it's 4 elements in 3 groups, and guess what? Almost every lens is a Tessar. So people get all bent out of shape because they see that, that T-Star, whatever.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Well, really, it's just their common lens, So if they're bad or anything, it's just that it's not unique. Speaking of unique...
Trickery.
this camera came from a friend's estate, and it's a Zeiss-Ikon Symbolica. Now, it's an interesting choice of a name because it uses symbols like, one head, two heads, three heads,
Blokes,
mountains, and so forth, right? The Symbolica, it looks really, actually quite modern. It's got very few discernible...
it's like something Mark
Dalzell would bring in.
That kind of looks like a camera my father bought in Germany. He was stationed in Germany in the 50s.
Well, this came out in 1962.
Oh.
He may have gotten a Kodak Retina.
That's what it was,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
That was an American-made camera, though.
German-made, American branding. So Kodak
Who
bought
made
the Nagel factory in Stuttgart, and that became where they made all the best Kodak cameras. In fact, the Kodak Instamatic 500 was made there.
Sweet.
The best Instamatic camera ever made.
It takes 126 film, and please, will some film manufacturer make 126 film? Thank you.
So the Symbolica was designed to be a very simple camera
Sweet.
for your sort of occasional snap shooter. So it uses a little control on the front. First of all, it has a selenium meter, which powers the exposure system. And you move these little levers on the side where it shows a sun, which means daylight. Mm-hmm. And the side, there's a little lightning mark, and that's for flash. So I made the mistake of thinking, I can just go out and line these numbers up what I think should be the exposure at like f16 or whatever. Mm-hmm. In fact, that's not. I did it wrong. So
Stupid.
You have to use the sun, and you just move that back and forth in the conditions until this little needle is centered in the middle of your viewfinder.
Oh,
and
so it'll give you the exposure from the meter.
The things that you should have, right? Actually,
but the numbers don't correspond to any kind of f-stop.
Only if you use a flash with it, and the flash is proprietary, and I don't have one. So anyway,
now we know what to get you for Christmas.
By the way, it uses 35mm film. It is a
real quick. The flash, so it doesn't have a PC port.
No, it has a cold shoe.
Cold shoe, but where do you plug
this thing comes off and it plugs into there.
That's too bad
on the top. But it has a nice flip out for winding the film. The little bottom part flips out here.
Look at that. That's a crank. CR crank.
Crank is on the bottom. Film advance wheels right here.
Right.
So,
sweet.
That's like the Retina, no?
A lot like a lot of different small 35mm, like Voigtlanders have a lot like that.
Ah, right.
The viewfinder is a high reflective Albeta viewfinder. You can see the frame lines looking through the viewfinder.
What kind of lens is on there? What is it, 50?
It's a 50mm f2.8 Tessar. So here we go. This is like their cheapy camera. It's got a Tessar lens in it. Now, the funny thing is this lens has, how when glass gets a little fracture, you get that little conchoidal appearance along the edges of things.
Conchoidal?
Conchoidal.
Really?
There's two of these in here. So this camera must have gotten dropped. Ooh. There's nothing shaking around inside, but there's little fractures in the glass.
Doesn't sound like a thermos from the 70s.
Yeah, that's right. Play with the mercury. You have fun. It's really easy to use. I'll pass it around. Take a look at it.
So what do you mean? So the lens is kind of wonky, or
no? I shot with it. It was fine.
No
Everything
problem.
was fine. No
okay,
problem.
I can see
because they were at the edge of the lens. And
what's
not
the
in the
word
very
you
center.
used?
Conchoidal.
Conchoidal.
It's sort of like shaped like a shell.
Yeah, yeah.
Sort of. You see them?
That's what conchoidal means.
Yeah.
I like learning new words.
Okay,
that's nice.
So while he's looking, talk a little bit about
conchoidally, Mike.
The light meter you mentioned is selenium,
right?
Which means that it takes no batteries.
No batteries, right?
Now, were you concerned that because of the age that the selenium meter was burned out?
That's always an issue. But the thing was, it had been kept in a never-ready case all these years.
Oh, lucky.
When you find a camera that has a selenium meter and takes no batteries, especially eBay purchases, like eyeball the meter. Was there a cover on it? Was it in a bag? That's key, right?
It is key because they lose their sensitivity over time if they're continually exposed to light.
Right.
It is a fur line on here.
Oh, how's that?
It's not a hair.
Oh, there's a woman on there.
It's a fur line.
Okay.
So I put a roll of XP2 in this thing.
XP2 is a black and white chromogenic film.
Chromogenic film. However, you can develop XP2 with regular D76 because it's a black and white film.
And can you find that formula on the massive development chart?
Yep, it is on there. It is. And I hadn't done that until recently because I had a bunch of XP2 I hadn't developed, and I hate opening up a C41 kit to do black and white. So I looked out, and the results of regular black and white developers with XP2 is fantastic.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's really nice. So I developed the film, and the pictures where I followed the little sun and did the metering like I'm supposed to came out great.
This is the meter here.
Yeah, but if you look through, you can
I can't see it.
in the very, very, very top. You have to move it. You see a little.
Oh,
you see
okay,
that?
I see it. There we go. Oh, no kidding. That's pretty awesome.
So it's really it's a fairly simple camera. Now the Symbolica part is funny because they use symbols, but I think the Symbolica is symbolic of the end of the German camera juggernaut industry, because by 1962 you're starting to see really nice cameras come from Japan, which were eclipsing the heavy metal monsters that Zeiss-Ikon was making. The other part about Zeiss-Ikon made so many cameras with so many different names.
Oh, yeah.
You'll see Icontas, which are folding cameras, and they have like 5 billion different combinations of those things, and they're all with a different number and so on. But they made tons of cameras. So Symbolica stands out because no other camera Zeiss made has that name. Whereas if it was Iconta or Contina or Contessa or Iconta, whatever, there's all these different flavors. That was in 1962. And so the other thing that happened a year later, this is for the casual snap shooter that they were aiming for, 1963, the Instamatic arrived.
Oh.
So,
Death.
Priced really cheaply, but really easy to use, point and shoot. Now, it doesn't come up to the quality of a Tessar lens, but for your average family snap shooter, the Instamatic was a godsend.
That first Instamatic had a beautiful glass lens.
It did.
They did a nice job with that.
This camera is symbolic of two things. One, the end of the road for a lot of German camera manufacturers in the 60s, and the ascendance of the Japanese camera industry. So I think that's, and the other part of it is also the domination of by Instamatics of the low-end cameras for your average snap shooter.
But they made this camera after that started happening?
Just before.
Just before.
So
it would be prescient.
And like a lot of German-made cameras, it's over-engineered probably. It's certainly got a lot of metal in it. It's well-made, but it's really pretty much a point and shoot.
How do you set your ISO?
There's a little tab that you move around on the side very carefully, and you rotate the ring, and it matches up with the ISO should be.
ISO 10, ISO 1300.
Yeah, believe it.
So just
but you never
1300.
Know. So you could take some Babylon 13 out.
Yeah,
with this.
you could.
Were these popular in the U.S.?
No. I mean, I think you're more likely to find any of these in European markets or European eBay sellers. I mean, some made their way over here. It's probably more likely to find this than a camera made by an East German manufacturer because they weren't allowed to sell this stuff over here.
And how many rolls will
It's Werner Bolton.
How many rolls will you shoot through that before you move on?
I'll probably put another roll, maybe some color in there to see if it's any difference. But
when did you get that camera?
I've had it sitting in my drawer for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I was afraid to take it out and use it because I saw those little faults in the glass, and then I thought, "Oh man, this looks like is this going to work?"
That would make me rush out and use it.
But
I can't wait to see what this looks like.
Takes pretty decent images, and what's not to like? They aren't very expensive on the Bay. I think about $30.
Okay, that's great.
It's a nice compact little camera.
It is. And it's,
And you find the meter is pretty good?
And this one, yeah, it was. Yeah. Now, the thing is, for some reason, Zeiss-Ikon's not the only one to be at fault with this. They didn't put strap lugs on these cameras. They had to be carried in an ever-ready case to have a strap on it.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
Yep.
You can get a little screw-on thing in the bottom where the tripod screw goes in with a strap on it. But that's kind of cumbersome. I like have it hanging around my neck.
Cumbersome.
So that's about all I can say about the Symbolica. I mean, and the other thing is this is actually the Symbolica 2, but it doesn't say that anywhere.
No, it doesn't.
How do you know?
The original Symbolica had a more classic camera appearance to it with adjustments for exposure. This one was all automatic.
What's this thing?
That's your exposure number, film counter.
Oh.
The shutter button. Shutter release is right there, too.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can go like that.
You can find...
Very quiet.
For folks listening, you can find a lot of non-cult cameras on the eBay, very reasonably priced because they just don't have any buzz.
Yeah.
Right.
Get them before you can't afford them.
I mean, if you have the Yashica T whatever.
T4.
T4.
T3.
And people pay obscene amounts of money for those things.
$600 to $1,200.
What?
It's just a point and shoot. It's a point and shoot modern
plastic camera.
Yeah,
with electronics that go bad.
It has buzz, John.
I told
Buzz.
you people are stupid.
Now, if they just have the buzz about the Pentax Spotmatic or the Symbolica,
the Pentax Spotmatic is also an expensive camera, right?
And they're excellent. I mean,
are they better than the K1000s?
Yes, in general, I would say they are.
And Ringo Starshot. With
Who's the guy sitting behind a desk that makes the decisions about what's popular? It's like today it's going to be the Yashica T2.
Has to do with some celebrities that they shot
probably.
with.
Oh my god!
Well, who was using? I know. I don't know if it's a real documentary or not, but Johnny Depp is playing W. Eugene Smith, and he shoots with Minoltas SRTs.
What's that called?
Well, we got a ton of those.
Has it come out yet?
SRT 101 or
101s, 102s?
Yeah. So I haven't seen the documentary. I don't know what it's called, but he does look like Eugene Smith, so it's pretty cool.
Now, who was Eugene Smith?
He was a fairly famous photographer. Remember he did one of the big things he did was the expose on Minamata in Japan, where he got beat to pulp by the thugs from the company he was covering for the because they were releasing mercury into the water.
Oh.
But he also...
He's a whistleblower, this guy.
Well, he was a documentary photographer, but he was also a very big lover of jazz. And there's a really good documentary about him in his apartment in I guess it was New York. And he lived right above the studio where all these jazz musicians would jam. And he was recording them all the time.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good documentary.
Really?
I would look for it.
Cool.
Well, Mark, thank you very much
You're
for reviewing the Zeiss-Ikon Symbolica 35.
Yes, sir.
And we'll be right back.
Das ist sie, die Praktica Nova 1. Eine echte, einäugige Spiegelreflexkamera von Pentacon. Rasch und bequem die richtige Belichtungszeit durch den neuen Einstellknopf. Das ist das PL-System, die neue Filmeinlegeautomatik. Den Film in die Kamera legen, bis zum Punkt vorziehen. Die Kamera schließen, zweimal blind auslösen und schon ist sie schussbereit. Noch schneller in der Anbindung, noch schneller in der Bedienung. Leipziger Herbstmesse 1967. Goldmedaille für Praktica Nova 1 mit PL-System vom VEB Pentacon Dresden.
Hey, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Hey, the biggest treat this month so far has been a listener sending me an email asking about some music at the end. They say, oh, what is that music at the end of? And I'll go to that podcast and I'll be like, oh, okay, it's Darren Ballard Riley's song.
Some of the new batch of tunes.
So I went to Darren's Bandcamp page and was shocked and surprised. I was elated to see that he has like a whole new mini album up, including such hits as Street Food.
Street food, you can hold it in your hand. Street food.
Which, as far as I'm concerned, is the new hit. And then, John, you liked, which one was that called?
What was the last one called? I forget. It's mostly an instrumental. It's like wow, 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 wow. Each one better than the last because it's all synth-driven stuff. Previously, Ballard has been, kind of like a guitar-based project.
Do you know?
Now Darren's really getting into.
Can you identify? Do you identify those?
I cannot.
Those synths.
I cannot.
So here it's a four song EP, as we used to call them. You have number 1, Mary Drinks Mild.
Mary drinks mild on a Friday night. Sitting in the snow puts the world to rights.
Then you have number 2, the hit, Street Food, which we're going to be playing. Number 3, Do You Like Drawing?
Do you like drawing? I know you do. I've seen you sketching. I like it too.
And number 4, John's favorite, Super Snout.
Super Snout. I was going to say Super Knot, but that's
And then there's a single that he put out, not part of any album, which is really good. It's called Pricks.
Yeah, about politics.
I see prick everywhere I go. I see prick on the TV show.
It's a good song.
Yeah, it's about politicians.
Yeah, and which we're not political here at the FPP, but I can tell you, regardless of what party you happen to be a part of,
It's equally about all of them.
Astounding to me of how awful people that serve are.
People that serve. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There are
a lot of people get into it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, and I think the people we see that Darren's singing about, these are people front and center. Like, there's so many people that you don't see on the news who are just doing their job beautifully.
That's right. Well, that's why you don't see them on the news.
Yes. They're just doing their job.
Yeah, they're doing what we elected
serving
them to do.
their constituents.
That's right. And they're not the people that Darren's singing about in that song.
No. It's a good song.
It's a great song.
So hey, there's going to be a lot of bonus episodes popping up between now and the 12th of Never. I really appreciate the support from everyone. Your feedback is essential. Yeah. And I have to tell you, when I'm really just down and out and bummed out, I'm like, oh, God. Am I going to have time to cut a new FPP episode? I'll get an email from somebody, and that'll, like, lift me up.
It'll jack you right up.
Yeah, be like, oh, okay, someone's listening. Thank you very much.
Oh, Sheldon.
In 2023, the FPP podcast, we've been going a long time. We're focused on delivering to you folks content about things, tools, information that you can use to create your art.
That's right. We're enablers.
Yes, that's what I'm informing
Creative
you,
enablers.
Informing you of new films, new products, vintage cameras, stuff that you can grab, shoot with, and create your own images. That's what it's about for me.
Play your own kind of music, sing your own kind of song. Right?
Yeah, maybe we'll bring that Mark Dalzell back for our Christmas episode.
That'd be great. Did you see him dressed up as Hagrid? Did I show you that picture? It's great.
Yeah, that was his Halloween costume?
Halloween, yeah. He goes all out. He's a very creative guy.
He is a creative guy.
That's why if we do like a film project or we come up with an idea to shoot or test a camera with, he'll like help out with the set design and like create all kinds of cool stuff.
He's a creative guy in a hard candy shell.
Yeah. I guess so.
Yeah.
He's a softie. He's a hard candy
shell. He won't admit he's a softie.
With a soft center.
Be like, hey, Mark, I'll call him. Hey, Mark, listen, you're not on the show, but we talk about you. So Dan will listen. That's he only listens if he's on it.
Okay.
So they won't be hearing this. So
all right. So we can say whatever we want.
Say whatever we want.
Mark Dalzell's a righteous dude. Yeah. As are all the people associated with the FPP. Owen, I just talked to you yesterday, and I was like, how's Owen doing?
Yes. And I was told you how thankful I was.
Yes, because Owen's a righteous dude.
Yes.
Leslie is a righteous dudette.
Yes. Oh, my God.
Matt's a righteous dude.
Matt, in 2023, everyone's going to be shocked and surprised that Matt is getting into motion film.
Yeah, but 16.
So what?
So he's bypassing all the...
Oh, you think he's a 8mm snob?
He's not ramping up. He's going straight for the jugular.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't bought... did you see the horror film Nope?
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that guy with the hand crank 70mm camera?
Yeah. The homemade one, the cinematographer. Yeah, why? He's going to make one of those?
That's what I expect Matt to be shooting.
He's going to make one.
I'm shooting large format motion picture film,
which
is 65mm. So, anyhow.
Yeah.
All right, so...
Are we going to read any letters, or that's it?
No, that's it. We're going to play a new song from Darren.
Oh, which one?
Street food.
Of course.
I want to shoot a music video for it.
All right.
How are we going to do that? Go see Mark Dalzell.
He'll help us. He'll make all the food. He'll make this place look like England.
No, we'll shoot at his place.
Oh, his apartment?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Street food.
Children. I've been running away from children all my life. From one country to another. And you can't escape them. The world is full of children.